I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys a little bit about the name of this channel, which also happens to be a philosophy that I hold dearly in my life. It's sort of a way that I try to live and go through all of my experiences. And it's basically to not have a backup plan. Hence the name, No Backup Plan. I really wanted to talk about this because when I saw this clearly for myself, when I started to adopt this more and more in how I go about my day-to-day life, I felt a huge shift. I felt a huge change in how I approached all of my experiences, all the things that I take on. I don't like to live life with a backup plan. I think having one prevents me from going 100% after whatever it is that I'm going after. The truth is, I don't think there is such a thing as a backup plan in life. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think that whenever you have a backup plan, you tend to fall on that. You tend to rely on it because it's more comfortable. The reason why we have backup plans are because they promise to keep us safe, to keep us comfortable. And the problem is that is the exact recipe for unhappiness and dissatisfaction. A backup plan promises to do certain things that it doesn't actually do. So, like I said, having a backup plan usually means that you fall back on it because it's reliable, because it's safer, and ultimately it isn't the solution that it promises to be. Furthermore, when we fall back on backup plans, the initial plan vanishes. It doesn't exist anymore. And the backup plan ends up being the main plan. I know I'm saying backup plan quite a bit in this video, but I don't know, I could use a synonym like fallback or backup. Plan B. That's a good one. There's no plan B. This is something that I slowly came to realize throughout my own experiences, where whenever I'd have a fallback, I would fall back on it. Whenever I'd have a plan B, that would become plan A. And over again, I found myself feeling dissatisfied and frustrated with myself for taking the easy route. Until I realized you just cannot entertain the idea of having an easy route. I launched this channel during a period of time that was very difficult for me. It was during the first lockdown here in France. All of my plans to live a certain life that I had kind of been entertaining, that I had been imagining, went away. They vanished, they disappeared completely, and they still haven't returned, in all honesty, to this day. The world is going through lots of changes and is dealing with a really difficult situation. So I felt very shaken up. I felt very off-balanced and frustrated. And I was having a hard time sort of moving on from my attachments to a different sort of reality that I wish I would find myself in. A reality where I could just walk out freely outside and hang out with people and go to parties and do the things that I took for granted before. Travel and indoor dining and all kinds of stuff. So I was going through this period that I'm sure many of you went through at some point over the last 12 to 18 months. I was really helped by the writings of Pema Chodron. She's an author that I've talked about before. Seems like an incredible human being. I obviously have never met her, but her books are fantastic. In one of her books, she talked about this concept, samaya, which is what sparked my thinking about no backup plan as a concept in general. So I'm going to read you that quote actually right now. It goes, "We don't experience the world fully unless we are willing to give everything away." Samaya, which is this concept that she talked about in her book, means not holding anything back, not preparing our escape route, not looking for alternatives, not thinking that there is ample time to do things later. I think that is just such a beautiful idea, so powerful, and it really stuck with me because this is something that I think is applicable in any experience that you have in life. It's the reason why I shaved my head. I wanted to just face that reality and deal with it and move on and focus on more important things in life. Go back to enjoying my time on this earth. Obviously, there are caveats to all of this, and context is extremely important, and I'm not trying to bulldoze over that. But I think that when you tackle a project specifically, and you don't give yourself the option to give up easily, to really see things through, interesting things can really happen. Not having a fallback, a plan B, really triggers a different kind of energy of really going all out. There's something unique about going all out with something. There's a ferocity to it. There's a unbridled energetic quality to it. That's how I want to live my life. And in all honesty, I haven't fully figured it out. There are times where I get scared and where I doubt myself and where I don't live in that way fully, where I start to try to come up with an escape route or a backup or something to fall back on. So that still happens to me, but it's a philosophy for life that I try to apply as much as I possibly can. It's something that I strive towards. And it really has changed my outlook on many of the things that have happened to me in more recent times, especially over this last year. I think it's also a great way to break out of a vicious cycle of regret, where, you know what, this is where we're at, this is the situation, this is what's happening, there's no alternative, here we go. It's a little bit difficult to describe, but I go back to the energetic quality of living life like this. It's liberating, flinging yourself into things. Sure, some preparation's good. I'm not saying to do things unprepared. But when the time comes to go for something, flinging yourself at 100%, there's nothing like it. That's living life. And there's no shame in saying, you know what, I tried this isn't for me, I'm gonna take a different path. Zero shame in that. But either try things out completely or take that other path completely. But don't try to do both. Don't try to be in between. It's maybe a silly thing to add to this video, but I'm trying to practice this in small ways. One thing I really wanted to work on this year is being more decisive. If I see something that interests me on a menu, boom, I pick it, that's it, done. Not going back on my decision, not regretting it afterwards once it arrives, not comparing with other people or whatever. That's just a little example, but there's plenty of those little moments throughout every one of my days. It's something that I'm really working on. I hope that clears things up a little bit. Occasionally I'll see a comment from somebody saying, oh, is this Nathaniel's backup channel to his main channel? I think that's kind of missing the point a little bit. There is no backup to my main channel. And this isn't even attempting to be the same thing. I created this space for a unique purpose, to experiment with things, to speak freely about whatever I want to talk about, to try different formats, you know, and that's exactly what it's been so far. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this subject. Really quick before I go, I wanted to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, Audible, which is a perfect fit actually, by the way, because I listened to Pema Chodron's book, the one that I quoted in this video, on Audible. The audiobook is called When Things Fall Apart. It was really an enjoyable listen and helped me a lot in a bad period. So I highly recommend it. Audible is the single biggest sort of one-stop shop for audiobooks and podcasts in the world. They have a massive selection. You can start listening now with a 30-day Audible trial. Choose one audiobook and get full access to the Plus catalog absolutely free. Just visit audible.com/no-backup-plan or text no backup plan to 500-500. I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you, Audible, for sponsoring this video and making these sorts of videos possible. I love talking about philosophies for life, and I'm excited to see what you guys have to say in the comments. Any sort of related quotes or ideas that you have sort of stumbled upon. I really do enjoy that quite a bit, and it inspires me, actually more than you may realize, because, I don't know, there's sort of a give and take that happens when I make these sorts of things, I've noticed. So anyway, looking forward to it, and I'll see you guys soon.